A West Side Chinese restaurant with a history of low scores barely passed its most recent health inspection.
Yeah, the Night Team's Tim Gerber tells us it's not the first time the business's poor performance has raised questions about what's going on behind their kitchen door.
Beijing Express, located in the 8,000 block of Marbach Road, was all locked up when I stopped by this week. I wanted to know why they got a nearly failing score of 70 on their health inspection last month. It was the latest in a long line of low scores, all of them in the 70s. You have to go all the way back to 2019 to find one above 80. When the health inspector visited in February, she found all kinds of violations, including 8 repeats from a prior inspection. A worker was seen preparing raw beef on a prep table right next to cooked pork. Another worker didn't even change their gloves or wash their hands after marinating raw beef. In fact, the inspector wrote she didn't see any hand washing by employees during the nearly 2-hour inspection. They were cited for the same violation in October. There was black mold-like buildup in the ice machine, also a repeat violation. Bleach and other chemicals were found stored next to buckets of soy sauce. The inspector found food storage containers of soy sauce and fresh soup being kept on the floor throughout the business. That food also uncovered. Perhaps one positive note, the inspector made no mention of any pest problems. Last October, there were numerous dead roaches found in the building, and a back door was wide open. This time around, the inspector noted she found a side door left open. I had lots of questions, but with the dining area closed, there was no way inside.
Oh, there's somebody right there. Hello.
Some curious employees eventually came out to see what I wanted.
Can I talk to you about your recent inspection? The 70? That's nearly failing.
But they had no answers.
Why are your scores so low?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah.
So you don't have any comment about how low your scores are? Have you guys fixed all the problems that are on there? You don't know, okay.
The inspector ordered a re-inspection to occur within 10 business days and told them to have all of the violations corrected. We'll let you know what they find.
Nobody knows.
Tim Gerber, KSAT 12 News.
Gotta love a good Tim question. So you want to know who has scores and who good scores and who doesn't? We have a tool just for that. Scan this QR code on your screen with your phone and it'll take you to a new mapping tool. It has scores for local food businesses. The reports go back 6 months and are frequently updated.
A new move to ban gender-affirming treatments for minors. The battle is in Nebraska. Lawmakers are voting to advance a proposed bill. The bill would outlaw gender-affirming treatments for anyone younger than 19 years old. The bill would allow for civil penalties for medical providers who conduct hormone therapy, prescribe puberty blockers, or perform sex reassignment surgeries. Proponents say it aims to protect minors from decisions they might regret later. Those opposed say the bill is getting pushed without any input from the trans community.
These bills will undoubtedly have direct and severe consequences for transgender and non-binary youth.
Roughly 150 bills have been introduced in state houses nationwide targeting transgender people. Earlier this year, governors in Utah and South Dakota signed legislation banning gender-affirming care into law. And in Georgia, the governor signed similar legislation Thursday.
One survivor is now in the hospital after a fatal explosion at a chocolate factory in Pennsylvania. The survivor was found in the basement, and officials say she was stuck in the rubble for about 8 hours. The blast has reportedly claimed the lives of 2 people, and 5 others are still unaccounted for. At least 10 others were injured. Investigators are still trying to figure out what happened. Meanwhile, people are still in shock about what they saw and heard.
It's the loudest thing I've ever heard in my life, and it literally felt like the ground fell out from underneath you.
The whole house was shaking. The lights were kind of flickering. I was really freaked out. I was thinking earthquake potentially.
The factory owner releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "We are sincerely grateful for the extraordinary efforts of all the first responders and for the support of our Reading community, which has been home to our business for more than 70 years, end quote. They also say they plan to continue working with officials during the recovery process.
4 attacks on U.S. forces in Syria, one killing an American contractor. The U.S. responding to the first deadly attack by sending in fighter jets, destroying 2 Iranian-aligned facilities. ABC's Daria Albinger tells us how President Joe Biden is planning to keep an eye on the situation.
More drone and rocket attacks on U.S. bases in eastern Syria, at least 4 in the last 48 hours. The first happening early Thursday morning at a U.S. airbase in northeast Syria. U.S. intelligence saying it was a one-way attack drone made in Iran. A U.S. contractor was killed, another injured, and 5 military service members were wounded. This is the first time an American has been killed in Syria in a drone attack. President Biden authorizing retaliatory airstrikes. The U.S. launching 2 F-15s, destroying 2 Iranian-aligned training and equipment facilities in the region.
Make no mistake, the United States does not emphasize seek conflict with Iran, but be prepared for us to act forcefully, protect our people.
This is the first time the U.S. has hit targets in Syria since August. 900 American service members and hundreds more contractors are currently in Syria as part of a counter-ISIS force. Iranian-backed proxies have been behind nearly 80 rocket or drone attacks in the last 2 years, including 3 others today, one injuring a U.S. military member.
Iran today is exponentially more militarily capable than it was even 5 years ago.
And there are concerns about how the deadly drone strike got through U.S. defense systems in the first attack that killed the American contractor.
We take force protection very, very seriously. I will say, as it pertains to radar, my understanding is that there was a complete site picture in terms of radar. All that said, as is the case in any type of attack, U.S. Central Command will conduct a review to assess what happened.
Daria Albinger, ABC News, New York.
Coming up, a new exhibit celebrating Afrofuturism in pop culture is now open. How it plans to inspire the next generation. Let's take an inside look at the new A History of Black Figures exhibit at the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. The exhibit opened this weekend. The goal of the exhibit is to highlight pop culture moments that show Black Americans in a positive light. Afrofuturism, to be exact. From movies like Black Panther to music from Michael Jackson and Janelle Monáe. The first visitors of the exhibit are teens from Project Create, which is an after-school program in D.C. for youth arts. Program leaders say it gives teens a way to see themselves in the arts and feel inspired.
All right, let's go back outside with live cam here tonight. 67 degrees. Still do have some dry air in place because those lower humidity values were in the works today. It was a cool start. We woke up to about 50 degrees here in San Antonio, a high of 83, still above average. But again, lower humidity made it feel pretty comfortable out there. Still warm tomorrow, but more temperature fluctuations and changes take us into next week. We'll have another full look at that forecast coming up in just a few.
All right, so after all the cold and the rain, even though we needed the rain, I feel like we deserved today.
We did.
We worked hard for today.
Of course we deserved it.
And tomorrow.
Yes.
Mia's going to tell us.
There you go. There's the tease right now. Yes, exactly. Overall, it was a fantastic start to the weekend across South Central Texas. And really, while we did have a few mid and upper level clouds filter across portions of the area today, this afternoon we had plenty of sunshine. Take a look, though, at this sunrise photo that was sent in from KSAT Connect earlier this morning near Pearsall Park on the southwest side of San Antonio. Doesn't get any prettier than that. Absolutely beautiful start to this Saturday. And yes, it was a bit cooler out there as well. Again, we started off at 50 degrees here in town officially over at SA International, 48 at Port SA, 45 in Hondo. Check out Kerrville. Needed the jacket this morning. Dropped down to the upper 30s right before the sun came up briefly. Again, we were able to see those daytime highs climb into the 80s for most of us. Right now, we're pretty comfortable in the 60s here in Bexar County, 65 in Bulverde. Bernie, though, a little bit cooler in the low 50s this hour, 62 over in Bandera. Nothing notable out there on radar, just a little bit of radar noise. Again, we're pretty clear as well. A different story well off to the northeast. You can see there's some rain, even some snow filtering across portions of the New England states, reaching over to Canada as well as the Great Lakes region. That is associated with that area of low pressure that actually brought that front and line of storms that caused a lot of severe weather, catastrophic tornadoes and damage across the deep southeast last night. Folks having to deal with that, unfortunately, here this Saturday. On the backside of that, at least for us here at home, well, we didn't see any severe weather with that front that moved in early Friday. We just saw that drier air, so we'll hold on to that through the overnight hours tonight. We're waking up to the mid-50s here in San Antonio first thing Sunday, but again, we will start to see those dew points rise. Because of that, a little bit of low-level cloud cover possible by the mid to late morning hours, but then some more peaks of sunshine helping those temperatures climb into the low to mid-80s in and around San Antonio for your Sunday afternoon. Into Monday, more of a muggy start, low 60s. That's followed by highs in the low 80s, some morning fog and drizzle possible, maybe a few isolated showers to a stray thunderstorm by Monday afternoon, especially up in the hill country. Then we see that first of two fronts move in into early Tuesday. That will knock our temperatures down a little bit. Daytime highs topping off closer to 70 Tuesday and into Wednesday. Something else that we really haven't talked about yet, the wind. You will notice that on Tuesday as well, gusting upwards of about 30 to 35 miles per hour. But before that front can fully get here, yes, all this green color that's moving back up from the south throughout the day tomorrow, that is that Gulf moisture. I think by this time tomorrow, if you do step out, Sunday night, it is going to be pretty muggy out there, and that is what could fuel just those daily chances for isolated showers, maybe a stray rumble here or there. We'll monitor, of course, how those thermometers pan out over the next several days. We'll be noticeably cooler Tuesday and into Wednesday. We're back up near 80 Thursday and Friday, and then that second front could potentially knock us back down into the 70s into next weekend. So typical springtime fashion. The temperature roller coaster continues.
Springtime roller coasters.
Buckle up.
Buckle up, right. Thanks, Mia.
All right, Andrew, I missed you, man. I haven't been able to talk to you because we've had to let Courtney talk about her Longhorns.
He's the one who brought up the Longhorns.
Stop.
I'm just doing my job, okay?
What do you...
San Antonio FC played tonight. They had a rematch against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. This was a rematch of 4 months ago. The Western Conference Final in the USL had a great finish. Plus, Brandeis Baseball, one of many local teams in action today, and Medina Valley advances to the second round of the soccer playoffs. Got that too next.
I thought I had a shot, so I took it. We had to keep fighting to get the third goal. But we came through.
Medina Valley is heading to the second round of the playoffs thanks to an incredible goal in big board sports. But first, San Antonio FC returned to the pitch at Toyota Field for a Western Conference Final rematch against Colorado Springs Switchbacks. No score in this one until the 83rd minute of play. Watch this. Zico Bailey's shot is deflected up into the air, right to Muhammad Abu, who just heads it past the outstretched arm of the keeper for the opening goal. San Antonio takes a 1-0 lead. But they aren't out of danger yet. The Switchbacks are awarded the penalty kick on a handball in the final minute of stoppage time, but Jordan Farr says no. The reigning USL goalkeeper of the year slams the door shut with a diving save. SAFC wins the rematch 1-0. They are now 6-0-2 all-time against Colorado Springs at home and now own a 20-match unbeaten streak at Toyota Field. The Medina Valley boys soccer team is heading to the area round for the second straight season thanks to an incredible goal from Pedro Sandoval. Friday night at Alamo Stadium with their Class 5A by-district match against Edison tied at 2-2 apiece. Sandoval came free on a free throw in and buried a rocket of a shot inside the far post in the 75th minute. That held up as the game winner in a 3-2 victory. After a slow start to district play, the Panthers have now won 6 straight games, and they've needed every one of them.
Our last 3 games were do or die. We had to win to get in, and so we've kind of been in this atmosphere for the last week and a half or so. And these guys have kind of just competed like that all year. Our leading goal scorer went down in the first 5 minutes, and we just continued to find a way. And to their credit, they kept matching us. And Pedro came up with that goal at the end. That was probably the best goal he's had all year. So incredible effort by the entire team.
Medina Valley will next take on Leander Glen in the area around at New Braunfels Canyon Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Let's head on over to the Diamond at Northside for some high school baseball. Brandeis taking on Clark in a District 28 6A clash. Cougars trying to rally from a 4-3 deficit. Top of the sixth, runners on second and third, 2 out. Leo Carden sends a hot shot to the third baseman, Jesse Martinez, who makes the stop, and he scrambles for the final out of the inning, but not before Jake Ramirez scores. We're all tied at 4 apiece. Bottom six now, Broncos with a chance to answer here. Runners on the corners. Sean Ramos lays down a perfect bunt. Elijah Aguilar scores easily. It's 5-4 Brandeis. Next batter up, it's Martinez. He drills his own hot shot down the third base line. That heads into left field. Talon Barella scores the insurance run, and Brandeis picks up a crucial district win, 7-4. Next field over, Brandeis softball taking on Marshall in District 28 6A. Top of the second, Broncos up 2-1. Runner on third, Sienna Rodriguez chops it short here, but watch this. She beats the throw to first. Peyton Moore scores. It's 3-1 Brandeis. Marshall answers back on the bottom of the frame, though. Dakota Dominguez belts one deep to center. That gets past the fielder. Dominguez heads to second with a double. Next batter up, Robin Boyette skies one to shallow right. This looks like it's going to be a harmless flyout, but Dominguez tags and races to third. The throw then gets away, so she scores. Rams end up rallying to win a wild one, 9-8. And we end tonight with a homer in Springs training. This looks like an everyday situation in the outfield with the ball one-hopping the grass. But take a closer look as the camera zooms in here. A dog, that's right, a dog caught the home run ball in his mouth. That's a tough game of fetch to one up if I'm the owner there. I don't think the dog's going to be quite as excited the next time he catches something in the outfield.
I think we just witnessed an Air Bud revamp. Oh my God. Somebody get that good boy a mitt and a baseball bat.
Like a dream come true.
Yeah, which Air Bud sequel was that?
That's all the time we have tonight. Thanks for watching.
Be sure to catch GMSA tomorrow morning starting at 6. Have a great night, and you'll see us back here tomorrow evening.